Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Assist Lounge, an official show of the Nutmeg Assist. Welcome to the show, guys. I'm your host, the Metaphor Guy, and today on our show we have a very special guest all the way from England. He is an Everton fan and he's also the host of the EBM podcast, that is the Everton Business Matters podcast. So our guest for today is Rodger Armstrong, and I welcome you, Rodger, to the show. Could you please introduce yourself to the listeners here?
Yeah, thanks very much. Delighted to join you. My name's Rodger Armstrong. I host the Everton Business Matters podcast, which covers, it's a kind of unique show because it doesn't talk about anything on the pitch. We talk, along with my colleagues John Blaine and the ESC, we talk about more of the off-pitch affairs, so financial matters, boardroom structures, merchandising, commercials, communication, things that you might normally not get covered by fans. But all three of us have had fairly extensive business careers, and we've built up a very loyal following. We get probably in the tens of thousands of listens to our podcasts, and they go out every fortnight, hosted by the Blue Room. You can find it on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter, but remember, it's Rodger Armstrong, Rodger with a D.
Yep.
Rodger Armstrong.
Yep. Amazing stuff you just got there, because not much people covers the off the pitch stuff in the footballing world or football Twitter actually. So it's great to see that. So let's get on to the point. The big topic here on discussion is Everton appointing their new manager, Marco Silva, the Portuguese man who managed Watford last season. So Rodger, I'd like to put this question to you. Can you just describe your emotions and your feeling on this manager appointment?
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, it was a very, very badly kept secret. I think we've all known for a good few weeks that it was going to be Marco Silva.
Yes.
We tried in January, after we sacked Koeman in November, we tried very hard to get him from Watford.
Yep.
Offered quite a considerable summer compensation. They turned it down. Ultimately, Watford's results dipped, and they didn't so much terminate his contract. They really put him on gardening leave, and so he wasn't free to come to Everton until his contract expired. I think there was a break clause at the 27th of May.
Yes.
So it was a very, very badly kept secret. I think we're excited. We've had a pretty rough last 2 years since Farhad Moshiri bought a controlling stake or a major stake in the club. We've had Koeman as a bit of a false dawn, and then we've had a period of really a vacuum when David Unsworth took over as caretaker manager, and then we appointed Sam Allardyce, which was arguably the worst appointment in the history of the football club. So I think we are the overriding emotion is one of relief that we've now got a proper manager, but I think we should refer to him more as a coach than a manager. More important to note the structural changes that the club has made, and I'm happy to talk about that as well.
Yep. It's been written in the papers that the board owners or the fact inside the club is that they see Everton as the Atletico Madrid of England. I guess you come across that point as well.
I don't know whether it's a fair comparison, really. I mean, obviously Atletico have had a really good 10 years or so. They've had it pretty tough, though, losing Champions League finals to their rivals. That would never be a good thing. Everton is the English club that's won the fourth most league titles behind Liverpool, Manchester United and Arsenal. So we've won 9 league titles. We're very proud of our history. The problem with Everton is it's a long time since we last won the league. It was 1987. That's 31 years ago, and the last time we won a trophy was 1995.
Yep.
So we've suffered, particularly during the Premier League era, because of a lack of investment. And with the advent of Farhad Moshiri and his arrival just over 2 years ago, there was a great sign of optimism. So Everton has massive potential, of course we do. We've got a huge fan base, very loyal fan base, very recognisable brand globally. But we sit outside of the top 6 in English football right now. and we're desperately trying to break into that. So I think it's really important now that we get some consistency. We're not swapping and changing. And so Silva's appointment needs to be viewed in the context of the appointment of Marcel Brands, who's joined from PSV Eindhoven as the director of football. And that is a complete overhaul of the previous structure, which had a guy called Steve Walsh, who was there for 2 years and actually appeared to be nothing more than a glorified scout, whilst he found a few good players for Leicester City, Vardy, Mahrez and N'Golo Kante. Didn't really have many successes at Everton, excepting perhaps Idrissa Gana Gueye. So now with Marcel Brands coming in, a more, let's say, experienced director of football, running the whole footballing side, not just the first team, but through the academy, running all transfer activity. We need a coach who can come in and improve players, and that's been identified as Marco Silva. So it's really a dual appointment. Don't ask me, Silva, the manager, what's he going to do? He's going to work alongside Marcel Brands, and it's very much a double act. And should it not work out for Silva, we very much hope it will, but the structure of the director of football is there. And should it not work out, then there is continuity with the director of football.
Yep. We've seen that with AS Roma as well. They appointed Monchi as the head of the director. So Monchi has had a great history working with Sevilla. He's brought in exceptional players into the club and has sold them for a wonderful profit as well. So he's recapitulating that with AS Roma right now. So Everton bringing in Brands from PSV, that's definitely a positive for the club, because Moshiri, when he took over a couple of years back, there were promises of great investment in the club, and like he promised, there was some very good investment in the last summer as well. You could see Gylfi Sigurdsson being signed, Jordan Pickford, Michael Keane. I guess they were good investments, but just didn't pay off last season. So
there's no doubting that Moshiri's put an awful lot of money into the club. Our estimations are that at least £150 million of his own money has been put into the football club. It's just been spent very, very badly. And you might say that Jordan Pickford was the only real success in the transfer market last summer. Sigurdsson, you could say we overpaid, and Sigurdsson really, really hasn't delivered. Michael Keane's had a very challenging season. And signings before that, before the arrival, before the start of last season, rather, before that summer transfer window, players like Morgan Schneiderlin haven't really come good. We seem to buy a whole host of what you might call number 10s. We forgot to buy a number 9, a replacement for Lukaku, the guy that wore the shirt, Sandro Ramirez from
Malaga, Spain.
So we signed from Malaga. It just didn't work out for him, and he was something of a disappointment. So the whole squad is now looking a bit imbalanced, and it's looking aging. We didn't have any left back cover, for example. We need new playmakers. We need a new goal scorer. Tosin's done all right from Turkey, but we need more. It's a massive job which Silva and Brands now face, without question.
Yes, but definitely, if you look at Marco Silva's record, he's done tremendously at Olympiacos. He's won the league there with Olympiacos, and he's had a 79% win percentage with Olympiacos. So that was excellent coming into England with Hull City. With Hull City, he almost kept Hull City in the Premier League. He almost survived relegation, and that's the reason why Watford signed him last year. And since after Everton sacked Koeman, like you said earlier in the show, there was a lot of flirting with Marco Silva. I guess that was a part of the poor run that Watford had in the November-December period. So he had a terrible run of form. Watford, they lost a fair amount of games. They didn't get the win. They didn't score much goals as well. So maybe the Everton job came into Silva's mind, and perhaps that got him distracted last season. But if you look at his track record at Watford, he's managed them for 26 games. He's won 8, he's drawn 5, he's lost 13. And out of those 13 losses, if you see that, yes, that has come into play with Everton flirting with him. But if you look at the style that he employs and the method he brings into football clubs, it's actually very positive, because he plays some attractive football, presses from the back, and defensively is very astute as well. So, I'd like to pose this question based on the style of play that Marco Silva employs. What do you expect, and what do you think of the style of football, the brand of football that Marco Silva brings?
Well, listen, we'll have to see. It's got to be better than the absolute tripe that was being served up by Allardyce, where the sole objective was to do as little as possible and restrict the opposition. I think Everton fans expect a certain style of football which is attacking, which involves pace and skill, but does have defensive solidity. I think you can look at Silva's record one of two ways, At Hull, he didn't win a single game away from home, but he won 8 out of 12 home games in all competitions, beating Liverpool, for example.
Yes.
You can look at his Watford stats, and they're pretty similar in that his record away from home was pretty poor. You could argue that, he brought Watford to Goodison and they were 2-0 up, and we ended up winning the game 3-2.
Yes.
Under David Unsworth, actually.
Yep.
It was, that was a time where almost he was making his audition, and the team kind of fell apart. Look, he's 40 years old and he's achieved a lot. He's done a number of clubs. He hasn't necessarily stayed around for a long time, but his football, looking on the positive side of the register, has been attack-minded, and he will need a little bit of help on the defensive side of things, and hopefully that's where brands can play more of a role.
Yep, definitely. So, the style is definitely there. Everton, under David Moyes, a fair share of years back, they were pretty good under Moyes as well. So, since Moyes left for Manchester United, they haven't got someone in to give the stability to the team. Actually, Koeman was doing an excellent job, but it all fell apart for him last season. So, you have to give the manager a fair amount of time as well, because when you appoint a manager like Marco Silva, you have to give him some time to bring his methods into the club. So you need some patience as well. So it's
no doubt.
Yep.
The last thing we need is to be 14th or 15th by Christmas and deciding to sack another manager.
Yep,
it's never been Everton's style, and the fact that last season we had 3 different managers is a bit of an embarrassment, really. As I say, now with the appointment of a more professional director of football, then I think the fans are very, very happy to get behind that team of Silva and Brands, and give them the time and space that they need to review the squad, review the existing personnel. A few outgoings are definitely needed, and hopefully 1 or 2 significant incomings that can give us more of a structure, of a style of play, and more confidence on the ball. Everton seemed to lack confidence for the whole of last season, and that's really disappointing. We had some decent results at home, but really struggled against the top 6. In fact, last season Everton got 3 points against the top 6.
Yes.
And that was involved a ridiculous draw away at Manchester City in the second game of the season, where City were down to 10 men. And we drew with Chelsea, and we got one other draw that I'm now forgetting who that was against. We drew with Chelsea.
We drew with Liverpool, I guess. Yep.
And yeah, exactly right. We got a draw at Anfield. There was only one other team in the Premier League last year who didn't beat a top 6 team, and that was Southampton.
Yep.
So every other team did, and that's really poor. And I think Everton fans expect us now, under Silva, to be a lot more competitive in the head-to-head games against the top 6. That's really one of the barometers that we've used to measure success and improvement.
Yep. If you look at the league tables over the past years, the last time Everton actually finished in the top 4 was back in 04-05 season, when actually they couldn't get into the Champions League because Liverpool won the Champions League despite finishing out of the top 4.
No, that's not quite true. The 5 teams were allowed. I mean, they never expected that to happen. So that was the year that Liverpool did the comeback in Istanbul.
Yes. Okay.
And Liverpool went straight in, and Everton were drawn against Villarreal in qualifying rounds.
Qualifiers. Yep.
And we were knocked out with a very controversial Pierluigi Collina decision away to Villarreal in the second leg, when Duncan Ferguson had headed a an equaliser that would have made it all square on aggregate. So yeah, that we did go in, but we never made it into the group stages.
Okay, yep. So yep, and if you look at it, Koeman actually managed to finish in the Euro in actually a Europa League spot, and last season in Europe, I think Everton were very, very poor in Europe last season.
Yeah, we were horrific in Europe, both home and away. We started off, we lost away to Atalanta, 3-0, which for me was one of the worst performances. We lost at home to Lyon. We drew at home with the Cypriot team, and we lost away in Lyon. We lost at home to Atalanta. There were some appalling performances, very, very naive, and no doubt that played a part in the league form. I think, you said Koeman did a great job. We had one good season. Yes. We never really played much great football. We beat Man City we put 4 past Man City at home. That was probably the highlight. There wasn't much progress other than that. And we expected that last season would be the season that Koeman kicked on. And if anything, we went backwards.
Yep. It hasn't worked especially well off the field as well for Everton. But there's been a lot of there's been rumors of a lot of unsettlement in the boardroom as well. So, anything on that?
Well, I don't think it's so much unsettling. It's more a changing of the guard. So Bill Kenwright, who was the majority owner for some time, has been chairman since the late 90s, but he's never been a rich man in terms of a billionaire. His team that were running the company, Robert Elstone as chief executive, who's just left at the end of the month. So when Moshiri came in, the existing team remained in place, and that existing boardroom team was one that was running the football club in a different financial environment of challenge and let's call it prudence.
Okay.
So now with Moshiri coming in and money to spend, it was a time of growth for the club. And one of the things we've said all along in our podcasts is that you need a different executive team to run a growth company than you do to run one which is counting the pennies. And now those changes at boardroom level are starting to happen, coinciding with the appointment of Brands and the appointment of Silva. I think we're much more optimistic on and off the pitch that the Moshiri revolution is now about to restart in exactly the right direction.
Yep, definitely hope that it actually kicks off. And so we move into the final part of the show. So it's just matter of opinions here. I'd like to know the 11 starters that you'd like to have in the Everton squad next season, the first game next season.
Say again?
I'd like to know the starting 11 that you have in mind for the first game of next season in the league.
Starting 11 is tricky, but we'd like to see Pickford will be in goal, obviously. I think Seamus Coleman may well become captain and he'd be at right back.
Yeah.
There's rumours that we're interested in Danny Rose. 2 new centre backs, arguably, but I suspect Michael Keane may be one. A new centre back alongside him.
Okay.
I think Tosin would start up top.
Fair enough.
I would like to see us playing 4-4-2.
Okay, fair enough.
So Tosin with perhaps Walcott playing off him, playing either side of him. Centre of midfield, Ganna would be playing. Whether or not Schneiderlin steps up, whether we make a new signing there, perhaps Tom Davis in the centre of midfield.
Yes.
And then we need a couple of new wide men. Because Bolassi's had a dreadful run of form. We've got some good kids coming through, the likes of Benny Bedingame in kind of central midfield, John Joe Kenny at right back.
Yes.
Calvert-Lewin has flattered to deceive a little bit, maybe not ready to play up top. But there's barely, from what I've said there, you see there's barely a spine. You've got Pickford, you've got Ganna, and you've got Tosin, and not a great deal more around them. Rooney seems to be off, probably no surprise. So I think we need pace, and we need flair, and we need a playmaker or two. Be great if we could sign someone like Wilf Sahar, although I think he's courted by many. I'd also like to see us, get in for a more proven goal scorer, perhaps someone that you can bank on alongside Tosin for 15, 20 goals a season. But it's going to be an interesting window for sure.
And also you have an interesting youngster in Ademola Lookman. I guess.
Yeah, well, if we could get Lookman back, then I think we are. That's really important for us. That Ademola Lookman went away to Leipzig, and if we're going to play 4-4-2, Lookman on one wing, maybe even Walcott on the other, Davis and Ganner in the middle, and then you just need someone playing off Tosin. Lookman is a player that we really, really must keep hold of, and convince that the future for him lies at Goodison Park.
Yep. If you could get someone from the market that could play off Tosin in that number 10 role, that would be excellent.
Yep.
That would be an excellent signing.
Look, I mean, Sigurdsson has to step up, and so clearly, you'd fit Sigurdsson into that initial squad to start with. You're not going to get rid of Sigurdsson right away, but I think we need options, and at the moment we're very, very lacking in depth.
Okay. So, and I'd like to ask you one more question as well. So, what do you think on the future of Wayne Rooney? Do you think?
I think he's likely to go.
Oh. I guess it just hasn't worked for him last season. It just hasn't worked for him. He thought he could move to Everton and maybe play a couple more years at the top tier, but it just hasn't worked for him at all.
Well, no, and he was asked to play a bit deeper, and that was kind of working. But then, he scored some great goals. He scored that wonderful goal against
West Ham.
Against West Ham, and he scored a hat trick in that game. He scored against Manchester City away. He scored on his debut back at Goodison, first game of the season against Stoke. But it just hasn't worked out for him, and I think he needed to be more of a squad player than anything. He was asked to do too much, and he couldn't. He couldn't do everything. His fitness is obviously not what it used to be, and so it'll be sad to see him go. But I would like very much for him to succeed. If he chooses to go to America, then so be it.
Yep, MLS might be looking as the most possible destination. Yep.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Yep. It looks at all, because all the players who are off the mark, they leave for the MLS. 1 or 2 years in the US, it's definitely good for the family as well. So if you look at all those points, it's fair that he moves into the MLS. So before we wind up the show, I'd like to have your predictions. What do you think Everton will achieve this coming season? Just give me the league standing, the final league position, and if you think you'll win some trophies, do chip in with that as well.
I think we'll finish 7th, and I don't think we'll win a trophy.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to jinx it by putting my neck on the line.
Yeah, a lot of guys did it last season. Richard Keys, especially.
Yeah, I mean, it's very predictions are dangerous. I think we need to see progress. I think we need to see an identity. I think we need to see more competition against the big teams, the top 6 in those head-to-head games, as I say. And I'd like to see us take the cup seriously, play a full-strength team, and get into the latter stages of the cup competitions, because it's all about winning them. And Everton haven't won a trophy for too long. It's really important that we put an end to that before we leave Goodison Park in the next 3 or 4 years.
Yep, definitely, and to wind it up, I like to say that Marco Silva is the perfect manager to lead Everton forward, I guess, because he's got the profile, and if he gets his methods in the club, I guess you have a complete identity of the whole team, and he apparently builds an identity for Everton in football. So that's great appointment from you guys. So we wind up the show now. Thanks for being a part of the show, Rodger. It was a pleasure talking to you. So
My pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. Good luck,
Yep.
and let's hope that it's a great season ahead for Everton.
Yep, definitely. All the best, guys. So,
Thank you.
yep, thank you, guys. So, we'll see you again with another episode soon enough. So, till then, goodbye.